Alright, how's it going, guys? Today we're going to be talking about why I believe Kaapo Kakko can go first overall in the 2019 NHL entry draft. This is going to be a two-part series, the first part being Kaapo Kakko and the second part being Jack Hughes. But anyways, in today's video we're going to be going over the strengths of Kaapo Kakko and why he could easily go first overall in the draft. So obviously Kakko has just been absolutely dominating, not only in Liiga, not only in the playoffs, but in the World Championships. He's just every day it seems like he's doing something else to increase his draft stock and to prove why he deserves to go number one. There's no lack in skill, every day I feel like he's just impressing more and more scouts, and he's putting more doubt in the minds of those people who just believe Jack Hughes is the undisputed number one overall pick. He's just been putting on a show. Like, he has been so dominant against men, where Jack Hughes, he doesn't necessarily just play against boys. I want to get that straight. But he's just been, he's been showing his worth on why he deserves to go number one. I believe he has 6 goals now in the World Championships, and a hat trick. He's just been playing unbelievable. He's just been doing so much highlight reel things. I just saw a clip of him in practice going through all his own teammates, playing keep away. Maybe I'll show a little clip right here. It's just unreal. This guy, Kaapo Kakko, just has such an unbelievable skill set of a two-way game. Such deadly hands, such a deadly shot. He's a great skater, fantastic hockey IQ. He can pass, he can shoot, he does everything. He's a really great two-way player that has so much potential to be a franchise, winger on any team he plays. And I do hear people saying, he can play center, and I'm sure he can play center. I'm sure he can. Except he has been leaning on, he's been more leaned on to play wing. Does that mean he'll be a wing forever? No, not necessarily, but for the draft, he's going to be drafted as a winger. So let's talk about some comparisons, maybe, because I've been hearing a lot of comparisons recently. Like Alex Barkov. We got Patrik Laine, Mikko Rantanen. Some of the top Finns being drafted in the past, I guess, 5-6 years now. So Alexander Barkov is a really great example. So they had very similar point totals in their drafts. So Barkov had 48 points in 53 games. Compare that against Kakko. Kakko has 38 points in 45 games. So he played quite a few less games, so around 8 less games, and he had 10 less points. So actually, Barkov did have a better point per game than Kakko. But in terms of the playoffs, they had the exact same stats. Kakko actually had 4 goals and 1 assist in 5 games, almost a goal per game, and Barkov had 5 assists in those 5 games. In the World Juniors, Barkov had 7 points in 6 games, and Kakko had 5 points in 7 games. You can definitely see a lot of comparisons in their development. They're very similar in terms of their point per game ratios, whether that's playoffs, the regular season, or World Juniors. Mikko Rantanen. So Mikko Rantanen was drafted in 2015. I believe he was drafted 10th overall. Mikko Rantanen, in his draft year, actually had 28 points in 56 games. His development curve was a bit later, than Barkov or Kakko, but he has definitely developed into an elite winger. A winger that I could really see Kakko turning into. I hear a lot of comparisons to Barkov, but I haven't heard a lot of them to Rantanen, which Rantanen could be a great example. Rantanen is really tall. He's a really great big guy. 6'4", and Kakko's 6'2". They play that more power game. So that's the difference between Jack Hughes, who has that offensive dynamic skill. Kakko has that more powerful skill, which depending on the team, depending on which team is drafting, and obviously this is New Jersey versus New York, they could prioritize one side over the other. I'm fully aware of that. And Rantanen definitely plays that similar play style. They have that elite skill, but they don't have to rely on that. They can also rely on just like power and strength. That power and strength which Jack Hughes does not possess. But that's okay, because Jack Hughes doesn't play that type of game. He plays, they're just different play styles, to be honest. And same as Barkov. So Barkov does also have that he also has this very similar game. He's a big body. I believe he's 6'3". Yeah, he's 6'3". He's a big body. He can power his way to the net. He's just an elite centerman. This year he put up 96 points, and I believe Rantanen put up 87. Wow. Rantanen at one point was on pace for like 130 points, but he really trailed off. And then we also have Patrik Laine. So Laine in his draft year, he had 33 points in 46 games. So actually, Kakko actually has better point production than Laine did in his draft year. And Laine he doesn't have that two-way game that Barkov and Kakko have. Laine more relies on his shot, so that's definitely a completely different player type right there. And also, yeah, take player comparisons with a grain of salt. I just thought it'd be interesting to go through the past couple drafts and see what Liiga production and how it's translated to the NHL. Yeah, but in terms of Kakko versus Hughes, so let's kind of go over this topic again. I fully believe that Kakko, right off the gate, will be a better player than Hughes. He's more physically matured. He has more strength. He has more power. Those things translate very well into the NHL, whereas in Hughes' case, sometimes it takes a bit later to develop. So in terms of the Calder race of 2020, or I guess 2019, 2020, I'm kind of confused. I could definitely see Jack Hughes still being a contender, but in terms of like their physical maturity and how that translates to the game, I could definitely see Kakko taking away that Calder trophy. So in terms of winger though, so right now, like I said before, Kakko is listed as a winger. Right now, Nico Hischier is the current number one center, well, projected number one center of the New Jersey Devils. Do they need two elite centermen? Because I've heard some people say, New Jersey doesn't need another centerman, so it'd make more sense why they take Kakko. True, but also no. I don't necessarily think that would be the number one reason why. We have many teams like, the Boston Bruins, the LA Kings, the San Jose Sharks even Pittsburgh, I guess, who have two elite centermen manning the 1 and 2 spot, and it just gives them so much depth down the middle that I don't believe that New Jersey would just pick Kakko because he's a winger and they need more wingers. Could you imagine a line of Kakko, Nico Hischier, and Taylor Hall? That would be nasty. That would be absolutely nasty. Because you can imagine if Jack Hughes went there, I can't imagine him transitioning to the wing, so I'd imagine him starting in the 2 spot and then eventually taking over Hischier in the 1 spot. But who knows? Hischier is also a beast. And then when you look at the Rangers kind of need everything everywhere. They have, Zibanejad as a center, but they could really use another elite centerman. Zibanejad is a really good comparable to like a Bo Horvat. They play that two-way game, really gritty, and I could see Zibanejad being a second-line center and Jack Hughes being the first-line center for the future. That would make a lot of sense. But on the other hand, who doesn't need an elite two-way, winger? Any team can use either of these players. There's really just no lose situation for the teams drafting. There's no second place prize here. Either way, the New Jersey Devils and the New York Rangers are receiving a franchise player that they can build their whole team around. It really reminds me of the 2016 draft, like I said before, where we had Matthews and Patrick Laine, both of which had top first overall potential. And so there's no really losing. It just depended on what you needed at the time. The New Jersey Devils, I could see them taking a center or a wing. It's very possible. And again, I can just imagine now where they have Hischier, Kakko, and Hall playing together. That would just be disgusting. But yeah, so in terms of development, Kakko right now is just so much more physically mature. He's really dominating every single place he's been playing. And to the New Jersey Devils, I wouldn't just be like, I want Jack Hughes because he's American. That doesn't even make sense. I would be looking at Kakko and being like, this guy's legit. And if I was the New York Rangers, I'd be super happy the fact that they won the draft lottery and are in the second place spot because they don't have the pressure to mess up and choose the wrong guy. They just get handed either Kakko or Hughes. So for the New York Rangers, good for you. You're in a pretty good spot. But in terms of, Kakko, he's just an elite franchise two-way forward who can play defense. He can play back. He can go back on the rush. He can skate. He has hands. He's just such a great player. This is such an entertaining draft to watch, especially with the World Championships and him and Jack Hughes being there. It's just a blast. I'm having so much fun making these videos, guys. Anyways, guys, hopefully I didn't ramble too much in this video and got to the point. The point is, Jack Hughes, Kakko, either of them can go first overall. But I believe Kakko, he can go first overall. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate all the support. It really means a lot. I've been so motivated to make more videos. If you weren't familiar with me, the reason why I'm making so many videos on, Kakko and Jack Hughes is because I do love all aspects of hockey, but my main passion is the draft. I'm really, passionate about, analyzing the drafts, going over prospects, following them closely, analyzing their play. That's just always been a really big hobby of mine, and so I'm really happy to be making videos and to have some type of audience, and I really do appreciate it, and more content in the future. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.